What's up? It's Mr. Spooner here, and today we are going to learn about exponents and radicals. Radical. All right, let's start with exponents. First, you got to know what everything's called. The big number is not called the big number, it's called the base. And the little number, that can be called two things. It can be called the exponent, or it can be called the power. Because it's powerful, it makes the number bigger. You would read this as 3 squared, and this just means 3 times 3. The 3 squared is 9. Not so bad, right? Let's keep it moving. All right, so what happens if we throw a negative sign and if there's parentheses? Ooh, lots going on. Well, in this first one, negative 3 squared, we have to follow our rules of order of operations, PEMDAS, which means that exponent comes first. This is going to be negative 3 times 3. You got to do that 3 squared first, which is 9. So my answer ends up being negative 9. Negative 4 squared, however, this time it's saying, whoa, do negative 4 times negative 4, because it's all inside the parentheses. So this one is actually going to be positive. I would tell you something tricky like the parentheses makes it positive, but that only helps you some of the time. All right, so how about here? 5 minus 3 squared. This is saying 5 minus 9, which is negative 4. This, however, 5 plus negative 3 squared, remember, this is 5 plus negative 3 times negative 3, which is going to be 5 plus 9, which is 14. So those parentheses and where that negative is sure do make a difference. All right, how do we evaluate 5x squared if x equals negative 3? Well, it's a good thing we just learned about exponents and powers because that's going to help us here. So the first thing you have to do is we're going to replace that x, that variable, with what x equals. In this case, it equals negative 3. Now here's something you need to know. Whenever you're plugging a number in for a variable, there is an implied parentheses. That means when you write it out, you're writing 5. A number next to a variable means multiply, so we're going to say 5 times. And then that x, that was saying x times x. So we're going to put in the parentheses here, and it's going to be 5 times negative 3 squared. So negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 5 times positive 9 is 45. And you have done something called evaluating that term, which basically just means get the answer. All right, so try this one. Pause it if you want. All right, I'm back. It's going to be negative 4 squared. That part's going to be positive 16. And look, we're done because that negative sign was out front. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. And then throw that negative. Boom, negative 16 is your answer. All right, we did exponents. Now it's time to talk about the radicals. This sign right here is called a radical. You can also call it a root. And the way that you would read this is square root of 81 equals 9, or root 81 equals 9, or rad 81 equals 9. Basically, this is saying what times itself would equal 81. And the answer is, well, 9 times 9 equals 81. So that's our answer. Let's try some of these. All right, ready? 6 times 6 is 36, 4 times 4 is 16, 7 times 7 is 49, 12 times 12 is 144, so the square root of 144 is 12, and the square root of 4 is 2. Sometimes people get tripped up on this. What's the square root of 1? Well, it's just 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. And all of these numbers down below, which you can almost see, is these are called perfect squares. And let me tell you something. You memorize these, your life is way easier. All right, let's keep it going. Ooh, that negative sign's making things tricky again. Well, if you have a negative underneath the square root, you are not allowed to do it. So your answer is undefined. It is not 12, because 12 times 12 is positive 144. It's not negative 12, because negative 12 times negative 12 is also positive 144. So your answer is, you can't do it. It's undefined. But when that negative sign's out front, square root of 144 is 12, and plop that negative in front, and you are good to go. All right, last one. If that little 3 is in front. Now you're thinking to yourself, what three things multiplied together could equal negative 27? And in this case, you actually can get a negative answer because check this out. Negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 equals negative 27. So it does have an answer. It is defined, and the answer is negative 3. And that's about all you need to know about powers and roots. Good luck.